Today we'll just start the last point from this, the process synchronization unit. So this is the last point, right? So, and this is most important point because the numericals are there based on this also. So in exam, they can ask either numerical or theoretical part, whichever will be. But this is the most important part from the process synchronization. Okay. So this part just I wanted to complete in this, the deadlock. So today I'll just complete around the 50% and tomorrow 50%. That part I'll just complete. So I think you might have the idea about what the deadlock is, right? So whenever we consider the processes in the operating systems, so these processes uses some resources, right? So that we know because every process needs to use any resource like the printer, CPU, memory, something, right? So what is the sequence there we can say? So every process can request a resource, or that process might use that resource, or we can say after that the completion of that work, so that process will release that resource. So this is the scenario of the process in the operating system. But now when we can say deadlock is there, and that what is that deadlock, right? So this diagram is given, but first we'll see the definition. So deadlock is a situation where a set of processes are stopped because each process is holding a resource and waiting for another resource acquired by some other processes. So thing is what deadlock means, we the everything is been, right? So here if you see in this diagram, and the meaning of whatever just I just told you, that same. Suppose these are the two processes, process 1 and process 2. Now, what is the scenario here? That process 1 is holding this resource 1. This one you can see here that assigned 2. So that process 1 hold that resource 1 and it is waiting for the resource 2. So it means when that process 1 will complete its execution, so when this process will get this resource 2. But right now that situation is it holds that resource 1 and waiting for the resource 2. Now if we consider that process 2, so the thing is what? Process 2 holds this the resource 2 and it is waiting for this resource 1. So when this process will complete its execution, so when this resource 1 will get by this process 2. But the problem is what? For this process 1 also, it is having this resource 1 and waiting for this one, and this process 2 having this one and it is waiting for this one. It means neither this process 1 is releasing this resource 1 or that process 2 is releasing this resource 2. So that's why neither this process is executing, nor this process is executing. It means everything has been stopped, and this kind of situation is nothing but the deadlock. So if we consider the real-time example, if suppose any one way is there, and from one side that heavy truck is coming, and that is the right way, and from another way suppose another truck is coming, that is suppose coming by the wrong way, but both trucks are in front of each other, and that they know the truck is going back. So in that case, what will happen? So everything will be stopped, and when that process will be clear or when that wave will be clear, so either first truck or second truck, either. So when that go back, then that second truck will pass from that way. Right? Now would be here also, either this process 1 or process 2 needs to release that resource. Otherwise, this process 1 will not execute and that process 2 also will not execute. So this situation is nothing but the deadlock in simple way. I think you might understood this. What is the deadlock? So definition is again same. The definition is what deadlock is a situation where set of processes are blocked. You can see here the set of processes are blocked. The reason is what? Why these processes have been blocked? Because each process is holding one resource. Every process is having or holding that one resource and waiting for resource, but that another resource is also held by the some other process, right? So that's why that the deadlock situation is comes here. So I think this you might understood this of what the deadlock is. Now we'll see which are the necessary conditions for deadlock. So these are deadlock characterization we can say. In two situation, actually that deadlock situation, the first is this: if these necessary conditions are complete or fulfilled, and is the we can say uh, that resource allocation graph. If suppose that resource allocation graph is not giving any kind of solution, in that case also we can say that the situation will come. So before we discuss various methods for dealing with the deadlock problems, we shall describe features that characterize the deadlock. Now first, that the feature we can say this is a necessary condition. So when we can say that deadlock occurs, so if all these the conditions fulfilled, so these are the necessary conditions for the deadlock, we can say. If we say okay, this is the deadlock situation, in that case, if that situation is fulfilling all these four conditions, then we can say that the situation is a deadlock situation. So which are these four conditions? So first one is the mutual exclusion. We came across this term in the last lecture, that mutual exclusion. That meaning is what? If suppose there is a in the process synchronization we have seen, in critical section only one process will execute at a time. It means that if we apply same scenario or that same concept over here, so if that process is executing single resource, then we can say that is a mutual exclusion. Or we can say if that the resource is not shareable, we can say only one process can use that resource. In this case, we can say mutual exclusion, right? So this is the first condition. If that the situation is fulfilling that mutual exclusion, then we can say that deadlock will occur. This is one condition. Second is what? No preemption. So no preemption means what? Suppose I am using one resource, that one process is using one resource, and that no preemption means what? That process will leave that resource after execution of that process only. In between, that process will not release that resource. We have seen that the preemption and non-preemption in the last lecture. So preemption means what? If suppose any higher priority process coming, so in that case, that processor will preempt the previous process and that will take the next higher priority process. But here that no preemption is there. If no preemption is there, then we can say this is one condition to occur the deadlock, right? Now third condition is what? Hold and wait. So hold and wait means what? If suppose that the process is having one resource and it is waiting for the another one, so it is not releasing suppose that holding resource, and still it is waiting for the another resource. So if that situation is there, if this scenario is there, then we can say this would be the one condition to occur the deadlock, right? And circular wait is what? There is a circle kind of thing. One process is holding one resource and waiting for another, and again that the another process is the holding that resource and it is waiting for the another. And if this is kind of circular thing, right? If suppose process P1, the starting from the P1 and ending at P1 suppose, so in that case we can say that deadlock will occur. So if that situation is the fulfilling all these four conditions, then we can say that deadlock will occur. Okay? So mutual exclusion, no preemption, hold and wait, and circular wait. So if these four conditions are there, then we can say the deadlock is there. So here it is written that So necessary and sufficient conditions. These are the necessary, also sufficient conditions to occur the deadlock. Sometimes what happen in the next, just I'll tell you, sometimes that condition is necessary but not the sufficient condition, right? So when we say that resource allocation graph, so in that case, we'll see that graph is a necessary but not the sufficient to occur the deadlock. But here, if we consider, so all these four conditions are necessary and sufficient to occur the deadlock. So this is the one characterization we can say. And second one, the resource allocation graph. So thing is what if we have suppose some kind of the pictorial way to explain something, so it would be easy to understand also. So that resource allocation is a graph that is again a directed graph we can say. So I'll just explain this on the board. So resource allocation graph, you can say this is RAG, right? So we can describe this the deadlock using that directed graph. We can say so here that resource allocation graph is we can say collection of vertices and edges that we know. Directed graph is having some set of vertices, some set of, so we can say here, so set of vertices like I'll say set of vertices and edges. So set of vertices, see in the resource allocation graph, set of vertices, suppose this V, and these are of having two sets we can say. First set is the set of process, we can say this like P1, P2, P3 and Pn, and set of edges, sorry, or set of resources. So we can say this R2, R3, Rn. So whatever are the set of vertices, these are of two types. One we can say set of processes and set of resources. And the set of edges that is having single set of edges. Here we can E that will be represented by E, right? And see here, we can say this the edges are directed edges, and these are represented like this. Suppose from process I to resource J. It means this process is requesting this resource, and if suppose it is like resource to this process I, it means this process is holding this resource, and sorry, this process is holding this resource, and this means it is requesting the resource. That process pi is requesting the resource. So we can have the set of edges like, or the pi to rj and something, or rj to pi something. So this is the set of edges we can say, right? So one example just I'll show you. And also here if you see that whatever are the set of vertices and that represented by the source type and the process, so that resource is represented like this, resource type, and whatever is the process that is represented in the circle, this is a process. And here suppose this is a resource, and if that resource is having multiple instances, so this is nothing but instances of resource type. Resource type. So meaning of these three dot means what? Suppose of this is a resource R1 and it is having three instances. It means suppose this is a set of printer, right? So instances means it is having three printers. We can say it is having three printers. Getting this? So if two dots are there, we can say two printers are there. Or if you consider the processors, so set of processor means this R1, and if suppose there are these three instances, so we can say there are three processors, this kind of thing, right? So that you just understand, it means this resource is having set of three, we can say, right? So using this one, we can represent that the resource allocation graph, and from this graph we can say whether that the graph or that condition is the deadlock or not. So how that I'll just tell you, right? Because in previous the necessary condition we have seen. So if four conditions are there, then we can say these are the necessary and sufficient condition to say that situation is in deadlock. But here if you see that the resource allocation graph, so from this graph we need to say whether that the graph is a deadlock situation graph or the normal graph. Okay, so suppose one example I'll just tell you here. Suppose process P1, process P2, and process P3. These are the three processes and these are the resources. So this process P1 is waiting for this. This is R1 and it is having single instance, but this instance is held by this P2. And again this P2 is waiting for this R3 and it is having single instance, but that instance is called by P3. This one. And this is R4. It is having three instances, and this is R2. It is having two instances. So this first instance is held by this P2 and the second instance is held by this P1. Now see, when we can say that the situation is deadlock, so if cycle is there, then we can say that situation is in deadlock. So see here, from this graph, we can say P1 is waiting for this R1 and holding that R2 instance. P2 is holding R2 instance and waiting for the R3 instance. And sorry, the P2 holds that R2 instance as well as R1 instance. And this P3 holds that R3 instance and it is not waiting for anything. So here, if you see the set of processes which are P1, P2 and P3. P1, P2 and P3. And set of resources R1, R2, R3 and R4. So these are the set of resources, and if you see the set of edges, so we can see here from P1 to R1. So here P1 to R1. Now P2, so P2 to R3. So here P2 to R3, and from P3 there is no any the edge like. Now we can see R1. So R1 to P2, this R1 to P2, this edge. Then R2, this one R2 to P2 and R2 to P1. So R2 to P2 and R2 to P1. Then R3, R3 to P3, P3 and R4, there is no, right? So we can say these are the set of edges. So this is the resource allocation graph, and here in this graph, suppose if cycle exists in resource allocation graph, it means there may exist a deadlock. But see what is this statement? If cycle is exist in this resource allocation graph, then there may exist. So we cannot say if cycle is there and there is a deadlock. We are saying there may exist a deadlock. Here that cycle is a necessary condition but not the sufficient condition. That you just understand here. In the previous one, the necessary conditions, the four conditions were there, and these were necessary and the sufficient conditions. But here we are saying if cycle is exists, then there may exist a deadlock. But we cannot say that there should be a deadlock in this situation. So there is a possibility to have a deadlock if cycle is there in this resource allocation graph. So we'll just verify that how that would be. So one example I'll just take here. See, example to check this one. Suppose process P1, P2 and P3, right? So this is waiting for this R1 instance, but that R1 instance is held by this P2, and this is R2 instance, sorry R2, and it is having one instance, but that is held by this P3. And here this is R3 resource, it is having two instances. One is held by this P2 and one is held by this P1. And this P3 is waiting for this one. Right? So you can see here of this P1 to R1, R1 to P2, then P2 to R2, then this P3, then R3, and then R1, sorry, P1. So it means we can see this, this is the cycle, right? So here we can say as there is a cycle, so there is a possibility to have a deadlock situation. So we can say if cycle, then we can say possibility of deadlock. We'll say this deadlock, right? Now, how we can say there is a deadlock? See, uh, if we consider this situation like processes, how many processes are there? So there are three processes and three resources. Oh, allocation. We can solve this using this table. Request and here availability. We can say three processes are here, and resource 1, resource 2, and resource 3. Again 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. So if you see here that process P1 we can consider. So this process P1 is holding that R3 instance and waiting for R1, right? So it is holding R3 instance. It means here it is holding this and the rest are 0. Allocation is there. So only one instance is allocated to this P1, right? So and that is of R3 instance. So for R3 we said that 1, for the rest 0. Now what about P2? P2 is holding this R3 and R1, right? So R3 and R1. So R1 and R3 and this one is 0. P2. What about P3? P3 is simply holding the instance of this R2. So we can say this one and the rest two are 0. This is allocation. But what about the request? So this P1 is requesting for the R2 and this P2 is requesting, sorry, P1 requesting for R1 and P2 requesting for R2, right? And this P3 is again requesting for the R3. So here, if you see, so process P1, it is requesting for this resource, one instance, and these two are 0 because only one the resource it need. What about P2? So P2 is just waiting for this one. So here we can say 1 and rest are 0. And for P3, so it is waiting for the R3 and the rest two are 0. And availability is nothing here. There is no any kind of availability. Now see, when this is the situation of deadlock, that's just we are checking. So suppose to execute this either P1, P2 or P3. So either this kind of the resources this P1 needs, then this will execute. This P2 need these and P3 need them. But see, availability is what? 0, 0, 0. So we don't have any resource available. And here everyone that P1, P2 and P3, everyone needs some kind of resources, but we don't have any availability. So it means there is a cycle and as well as all these are in blocking state. So we can see here for this situation, there is a deadlock, right? So here that cycle is there, and also the no process is executing because availability is 0. So that's why we can say there is a deadlock, because every resource is having the some instances and all have been allocated. Now, if we consider the second example, this is the case of the deadlock, then we'll see the case of the of cycle but no deadlock. Suppose P1 process and it is requesting for this R1. It is having suppose two instances. This is R2. It is having single instance. Here P3, it is holding this instance and waiting for this instance, and this P1 holds suppose this, and here P2 is there and it holds this one. Now you can see here, if you see this, and this, so cycle is there, right? So here cycle. Now can I say this cycle is present in this the resource allocation graph? So can I say there is a deadlock? So I cannot say surely here there is a deadlock, but when I just solve this, then we'll say something of again here that same table will just form, like process, then allocation, then request, and availability suppose. Now here only two resources are there. You can see here R1 and R2. These are the only two resources. So we can say R1 and R2. Right? And suppose availability is 0 here again. Now from this graph again we can see P1, P2 and P3. So I'll directly write here. So P for P1 is 0, 1. For P2, 1, 0. And then also here 1, 0. For the request, this is 1, 0. And if you see P2, this one, it is not requesting to anyone, right? So that's why here we can say this is 0, 0. And for P3, we can say 0, 1. Right? Now see, if you see this situation here, when we start from the P1, so P1 needs that request is what? 1 and 0. Right? Let's change this. So this needs 1 and 0. So we cannot say, because that availability is 0, 0. So we cannot complete that P1 execution over here. So we'll go for the P2. Now what is the request of P2? So there is a 0, 0. And availability is also 0, 0. It means if you see here for the P2 here, if this P2, because it is not waiting for any resource, so if it completes its execution, then it can release this instance, right? So this one. So here the P1 can execute. So once this P1 can execute, so availability is what? We have that availability as this, because this was allocated. So this one, right? Because this P2 released this and this. So for R2, there were no any requests, but this was allocated. So we can say now the availability is this one. Now we'll go for the P3. Now what is the need of P3? So 0 and 1, but we have 1 and 0. So again, P3 cannot be executed here. Now again, we'll go back to P1. So availability is 1, this 1 and 0. So that need is what? request is 1 and 0, so we can say that P1 will execute here. So P1 will execute and it will release that the whatever is the allocation, this one, right? So this will 1 1 then, because this is already and this one. Now after P2 is executed, P1 is executed, then it will go, sorry, this was P3. So we'll go for the P3. So that need is 0 1 and we have availability. So we can say here this will also execute. So sequence is what then? Execution sequence. Sequence is first P2 will executed, then P1 executed, and then P3 executed. So you can see here all three processes have been executed, even though there were a cycle, this one. So here we can say, even though that cycle is there, but we cannot say surely that deadlock situation would be there, because this is the example here that cycle is there, but the deadlock is not there. So here we can say for this situation, no deadlock. So have you understood this? The resource allocation graph. So from this, what we can conclude from this resource allocation graph? Now see, if suppose graph is there and there is no cycle, if there is no cycle, then what we can say? So there is a no deadlock. So first conclusion we can draw here, if graph contains no cycle, then we can say no deadlock. If cycle is not there, then surely we can say there is no deadlock. Second, suppose cycle is there. If graph contains cycle, a cycle, then we have two situations. First is what? If, see, consider this one. If suppose cycle is there and if every resource is having single instance, like suppose this R2 is having two, but suppose only P4 processes are there. One example I'll just show you here. Suppose P1 and P2, right? And this is R1 and this is R2. So every resource is having single instance, suppose. So it is waiting for this and hold this. It is P2 is holding this and waiting for this. Now see, for these resources only single instance is there, and in this case suppose cycle is also there, then we can say there is a deadlock if single instances are there for every resource. So here we can write if only one instance per resource per resource, then what we can say? Then deadlock. This one, right? So if single instance is there, but if several every resource or the some resources having several instances, in that case then we can say there is a possibility of having a deadlock. If several instances per resource, then we can say there is a possibility. there is a possibility of deadlock. Getting this? This one. So from this, we have seen the two things. One is the necessary condition, and second, whatever the slide I have shown you. So four necessary and sufficient conditions were there. If all these four conditions were satisfied, then we can say there is a deadlock, surely. But if we are using suppose this resource allocation graph, and in this, if there is no cycle, then we can say there is no deadlock. But if there is a cycle and every the resource is having single instance, then in that case we can say there is a deadlock, because the every resource is having single instance and the cycle is also there, then we can say there is a deadlock. But if suppose several instances are there for some resources and cycle is there, then we cannot say surely, but there may have possibility to be a deadlock situation, right? So this was the resource allocation graph. Now for next, how much time? Okay, we have 10 minutes. Now we'll see some methods to handle the deadlock. So I'll just tell you some methods to handle deadlock. So here, methods handle deadlock. Now see, we have seen that deadlock situation. Suppose situation is there, then how we can handle that deadlock? That means these are the some method, these are the solutions we can say to the overcome that deadlock situation. Right? So here there are the various methods to handle the deadlock. So we have four methods it's mentioned. So first method, this is deadlock ignorance. Second is deadlock prevention. Third is deadlock avoidance. And that last one is deadlock detection and recovery. Deadlock detection and recovery. Right? Now see, these are the four situations we can use to handle the deadlock. So first one, this is the very simple. Deadlock ignorance. So see, here in these situations, what we can do, if suppose there is a situation of deadlock, then we simply ignore that one. So how we can ignore this? So either you need to write some kind of code here to ignore that the deadlock situation, or the we can kill all these processes, right? So we can kill all the processes, or the second way, how we can kill all the processes. So suppose consider your the machine, that computer is hang. Hang means what? There is a deadlock situation. Now in that case, what we do normally, we just wait to complete that one, that overcome the deadlock situation like hanging condition, or simply we restart that machine. It means we kill all the machine, all the processes, and we start it freshly. Again, some the problems are there in that situation also, because if suppose one process is there, that process have completed only 10% the execution, and the another process is there, that process have completed suppose 90%, but the killing, or in the case of restarting that machine, we are killing all the processes, right? So that's why that is again a drawback of this killing the all these processes. So here we can say the either we can add some code to the operating system to ignore this situation, that is a deadlock situation. We can say here, so we can add code to OS suppose to avoid or ignore this, or we can say simply restart machine, restart your machine. So with these two situations, we can the handle. Suppose this is very simple and practical example. So deadlock ignorance. Now the second one is deadlock prevention. See, deadlock ignorance is what that the situation is there, the deadlock situation is there, and we are simply ignoring that one, either by adding the code or simply by restarting your machine, right? It means we are killing all the processes, but the deadlock is occurred there, and then we are doing this one. Now, the deadlock prevention means what? So we just try to prevent that deadlock situation. So how we can the avoid, not avoid, how we can prevent that situation? So see, first for this prevention, we know the which are the necessary and sufficient condition to occur the deadlock. Which are the sufficient and the necessary condition to occur the deadlock? So first, that condition is mutual exclusion. Second is no preemption. Third one is hold and wait. Wait. And that last one is circular way. See, so because of this, that situation comes. If all the four the conditions are fulfilled, then we can say that the condition that the situation is in deadlock. Now, just I want to prevent this one. So what I can do, either I can make this system false, this condition false, or I can make this condition false, or this, or suppose all four condition makes false. Then we can say we have prevented the deadlock situation. So how we can the avoid this situation, this mutual exclusion situation, right? So, and mutual exclusion, what that concept is, at the same time, only one process will, or that process will use that particular resource, right? Means single resource is there, and the other process, once one process is using that one, so another process will not use that, right? So in this case, only one the process is using that one. So to avoid this, to make this the mutual exclusion false, we need to apply share the resources. If we just use the situation sharing of the resources, then we can say this condition becomes false, right? So to remove this one, that the mutual condition, we can say this once that mutual condition becomes false, then if you are the sharing the resources, so that the process or that situation will not come like a deadlock situation, right? Now second, the no preemption is what about this no preemption? No preemption means once that process is using that resource, so that process will not release that resource till that completion of execution of that process. But if you are using the preemption, then we can avoid this again, right? If we are using suppose that preemption concept, then we can avoid this also, right? And in this, the third one, hold and wait. So if you are not allowing to hold the resource and waiting for the another one, right? Then we can say in that case, this again, the situation will becomes false. And the circular situation is there. If you are using suppose this resource, the sharing concept, then again this the resource, sorry, circular wait situation will not come, right? So if you are trying to false all these four conditions, or we can say try to remove all four conditions, or we can say either any one or any one condition. If you are able to remove all these four conditions, then we can say we have prevented that the deadlock situation. Or if you are suppose removing any condition, then again in that case we can say we have successfully prevented that deadlock situation. Getting my point? So here, uh, when you are using suppose that preemption concept, so here we can use the one the concept that is a time quantum. So I think we came across this term time quantum. So it means for the every process we can give the particular time, specific time. So suppose every process can execute suppose 4 units of time, then every process will they execute that resource for 4 units of time, so that we can prevent that deadlock situation. Getting this? So it means, and this deadlock prevention, only these the four the conditions are important. If you remove all these four conditions, then we can say so that the deadlock has been prevented. Getting this? So I think you might understood this, how we can prevent that deadlock, right? Now the next okay, time is over, but that next only that the deadlock avoidance and that recovery also, detection and recovery. So that we'll see in like next lecture. So till this, if you have any kind of doubt in this deadlock, so just please ask me. What we have seen today, so here, so I think the introduction about the deadlock, then we have seen that the necessary and sufficient conditions, plus that resource allocation graph, and the conclusion is most important here. Just focus on this conclusion. If the no cycle, no deadlock. If cycle is there, then these two conditions. So if suppose every resource is having single instance, then we can say there is a deadlock. But if suppose several instances are there for the some resources, then there may be a possibility of deadlock, right? So this one and the methods of handling this. So we have completed, I think, these two, right? So ignorance and preventions we have seen. So tomorrow we'll just go with these two. Okay. So if any doubt, please ask me. I'll just stop sharing this.